What's up guys, it's Kat and welcome back to KATMAS, and today we're going to be talking about how to live with a roommate. I got 10 tips for you that will help to deal with living with a roommate, some hacks, some tricks, some tips from experiences that I have had. A lot of these answers are going to be more geared towards college dorm rooms, but you can still find some helpful tips no matter what situation you have of sharing a bedroom. You may be thinking, Kat, you don't share a room, why are you making this video? But I have lived in 4 different college dorm rooms, and all of those college dorm rooms, obviously I was sharing. My freshman year, there were 4 of us in one room. And then my second year, I just lived in like your basic average dorm room with me and one other roommate. My third year, me and 2 of my closest friends got an apartment on campus. We had our own kitchen, our own bathroom, our own bedroom, our own living room, everything like that. That was probably my favorite year, fun fact. And then my senior year, I lived in another apartment style dorm room where there were 2 different bedrooms, and each bedroom had 2 girls in it. And then there was a shared kitchen and living room in the middle. So there were 4 of us living in our whole suite. I also want to mention that in some of the cases, I was actually friends with the people I lived with, but there were a couple situations where I really wasn't that close with the person I lived with, and we just kind of coexisted. So I'll give you some tips on that as well. The first thing that you need to do is to realize and accept the fact that it's not going to be the same living on your own. Some of the things that you could do if you were just in your own bedroom at home, you may not be able to do if you're sharing a college dorm with somebody, or if you're sharing your bedroom with your sibling. Once you accept the fact that it's like, okay, this isn't the same, everything else will be a lot easier because you won't be expecting to be able to stay up all night with your music blasting. One of the most important things that you need to do that I did not always do, and I learned the hard way, that it's important to immediately communicate what you like. If you're the type of person that goes to bed at 1 in the morning every single night, say, you know what, I do stay up till 1 in the morning, however, I'll make sure to turn off all the lights, and if I'm on my computer, I'll wear headphones. Or if you wake up at 6:30 every single morning and your roommate wants to sleep in, be like, look, I really need to get up at 6:30, but make sure that your alarm is right next to your bed, so as soon as it goes off, you can quickly turn it off. And to kind of go along with that, you need to be respectful of your roommate and treat them the way that you want them to treat you. I know that's so basic of a saying, but it really is true. If you don't want them bringing people in at 1 in the morning on a Tuesday night, don't bring your boyfriend in at 1 in the morning on a Wednesday night. You know what I mean? You know what? Maybe you wouldn't care if they brought their boyfriend over at 2 in the morning on a Tuesday night, but that doesn't mean that they're okay with it if you do it. So just be respectful of what they want. And if they have some sort of request that you think is unreasonable, just talk to them about it. But, you know, keep going back to that. Remember that it's not going to be the same as if you were by yourself. There are sacrifices and compromises that you're going to have to make. That's just what living with a roommate is. Number 4 is to make guidelines, but in like a casual way. So say it's your first day living with this new roommate. You don't want to go to them and be like, so you can't have guests at this time, you can't bring this kind of food to the apartment, you can't do this, can't do that. You don't want to do that because it's just going to make them like freaked out. So be casual about it and just say, hey, I was thinking maybe we could sit down and just make a couple guidelines about, you know, just so that we both feel comfortable here, because I don't want to do anything that's going to make you uncomfortable, and vice versa. This is kind of a cool tip. If you have to share a closet with somebody, which I actually did have to share a closet space with one of my roommates one of the years, if you each have a different color hanger, it'll be super easy and quick to see what is your stuff and what is their stuff. Okay, definitely, especially if it's somebody that you're not super close with, let them know if you're having a guest over. But personally, I don't think that you need to ask their permission, and I don't think that they need to ask your permission to have a guest over either, because you're both paying to live in that space, so you should be able to bring a guest over. But just let them know when the guest is coming over, and obviously be courteous about how often you have a guest come over. I know for my dorm, you couldn't sign somebody in more than 2 times a week anyways, so that wasn't really a problem of having somebody over every single night. And if they have a serious problem about it for some reason, like say they have a big test the next morning and they're like, I really need to get sleep, I really need to do this, I need to be able to study, maybe like say, okay, well, we'll go hang out somewhere else and then we'll just come back to go to sleep, but we'll make sure to be quiet. Especially with dorm rooms, I think it's super important to stay very organized, because it's typically a very small space and you're sharing it with somebody, so it can get overcrowded and overcluttered very quickly. So by making sure that everything that you own has a place somewhere in your dorm, it's going to ensure that it makes it a lot easier to keep it clean. And thankfully, I've never had to deal with something like this, but you never know if your roommate might steal something. So if everything has a place and you always put it back in its place, it'll be super easy to notice if something is missing, because you're like, I always put that back and it's not there, and the other person that's been in this room is so-and-so, so then maybe you can talk to them and figure out if maybe they took it or something. I don't know, that would suck. That'd be really uncomfortable. When you live in your own room, you'll throw a pair of pants on the ground and then you'll leave your laptop out. So something small like that you wouldn't think of if it was just your own bedroom. But when you're sharing it with somebody, you don't know if they're gonna get frustrated with you leaving stuff everywhere. And maybe they're the slob, maybe they're the one who
leave stuff everywhere, and then you should talk to them about it if it's bothering you. I would literally just clean up right after yourself too. If you make dinner, before you even eat your dinner, just clean up this mess that you made and then eat your dinner so that nobody gets annoyed and there's no friction with like so-and-so keeps making a mess. You don't want that. One sort of goes around along with the keeping it clean, but it's to have a cleaning routine with your roommate. So maybe you say that you have a weekly cleaning routine, that every single week you guys do the cleaning routine, whatever it is. And also, again, be flexible with that. Say that your roommate is supposed to take the trash out every Sunday, and then one Sunday they're at home and they can't do the trash. Just take the trash out. Don't make it a big deal. Now, if you do share a kitchen with your roommate, which I had done for 2 years out of the 4 years that I lived in a dorm, I definitely recommend trying to come up with some sort of system with your roommate, because things like eggs, milk, maybe peanut butter, I don't know, those sort of things that you're both gonna be eating. It doesn't make sense to have 2 of everything or 4 of everything, depending on how many people in your dorm, in the refrigerator. So make a system where it's like, you buy the milk this week, then I'll buy it the next week, then I'll buy the eggs. And if you don't wanna do that, that's totally fine. I would recommend just labeling what your food is then. It's not a big deal. Just put your name on it that way, especially if your roommate has a guest over and the guest comes into the refrigerator and they don't start grabbing your food because they can see, oh, that's labeled as the other person's. So I don't think it has to be a big deal if you label it. I mean, don't do it as in like, hey, I just labeled my food because I don't want you to touch it. Just be like, hey, just so you know, I labeled my food just so that we're both on the same track about whose is what is whose. If you have any other questions about this, just let me know them in the comments. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And before you leave this video, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and I'm talking so fast. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in another video of KATMAS tomorrow.